over it.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your boy Over It. I'm back at it again. Sorry for not uploading for a while. I've been trying to get back into the rhythm, had a move going and everything, but we're back and we're ready to go. We got some new tutorials here for you guys. So today's tutorial is pretty much going to be how to sample, how to make a dope beat out of a sample. This is mostly for beginner beat makers, but if you're advanced or even an expert at beat making, you could watch this video and you can maybe even learn something from this video, still get some inspiration and kind of just see my workflow. And that's honestly what I like to do with some other producers. You know, when I find myself a little lost or in beat block, I tend to look at other people's workflow, and that really helps me out a lot. So enough talking, let's get right into it. So let's head into our playlist, and we already have this set up right here. This is a piano that I got from Splice, a sample from Splice. So here's pretty much what I did to it. So this is the original sample with no effects on it. Okay guys, so yeah, pretty much what I did to this sample in the beginning was I pitched it up around 400 cents. When you're sampling, you just want to know that other people might be using the same sample as you. So when you put it up higher or lower in pitch, it helps kind of differentiate, especially when you put your beats on YouTube. YouTube might recognize that from another video and they could not let you upload your video. I pitched it up 400 cents, and this piano was at 156 BPM. So I'm staying right at that tempo as pretty much kind of my tempo around there. But let's say, for example, we want to work on 156 BPM and this is a higher tempo sample. So you want to make sure it's on stretch, and you just want to click on time and drag it all the way to the end of the bar. And you make sure with your metronome that it's all in time. So yeah, that's great. And we already have it pitched up 400 cents. So we're good to go. So here's the mixers that I have for it. So first I started off here with a high pass filter on the sample. You know, just take out some of the lows. You can see here some low frequencies. So what I did was just cut those out, get rid of the muddiness, so that when we put down our bass or our 808, it's going to be way less muddy. So after doing that, I added Kickstart, which is a side chaining plugin. You could do the side chain manual by just right clicking on your meter here and creating an automation clip. You could do something like this. So here's pretty much what I did. And I'll cut right here. And you could just copy paste this all the way to the end of the sample. This is how you can do it without this plugin. But with the plugin, it just makes it a little bit easier, so I don't have to do all that. So here it is, and you have a couple of options. You could turn the mix down so it's not so heavily side chained. Before, I've just turned the mix to around like 50% around there. I don't like to side chain it too much, because the reason why I do side chain in the first place is just to give it a little bit more movement, more bounciness. But in this case, I left it all the way at 100%, and here's what it sounds like. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this piano sample. I might do another tutorial in the future where I do slice up some samples. So if you guys do want to see that, please leave a comment and a like in the video, and I'll definitely look into that for all the people that do like to splice samples. So the tough part about sampling is trying to figure out what to add on top of the sample to kind of make it pop. So you might have, for example, in my case, I have this piano, but if you just put a beat on top of it, it might sound, you know, first of all, it might sound repetitive. So for example, if we're trying to build a chorus, a really nice punchy chorus, you want to have some more elements to it. You just don't want it to be the piano the whole song. So that's one of the tougher parts of sampling, but this is how I kind of work my way around that. And if you guys do take some inspiration from this, feel free to use this technique in your beats. So it's pretty much just the same piano from the beginning. I just half-timed it, and here it is. So for some of you that don't know what halftime is, it's just the half speed and it'll just cut it in half. So then moving forward, what I did was I pitched it all the way up. And just that alone is already starting to sound pretty cool with the original piano. So here's what it sounds like with no effects. Alright, so the effects I put on this was pretty much just a kickstart, the same one from the beginning, the sidechain. Along with that, I also put Guitar Rig 6, which if you guys don't know about, is pretty much like some pedals that you put on the guitar, but in a plugin. But without Guitar Rig, you can pretty much achieve the same sound with a reverb or delay or even flanger if you need it. So yeah, here's what the second sample sounds like in full. So yeah guys, moving forward, now that we already have pretty much the building blocks set for our beat, what we need now is kind of just something catchy, something that'll get our ear and pretty much just tell the listener, hey, this is a fire beat, you know, I want to keep listening to this. And right now I'm not getting that vibe. So what I also like to do when I'm sampling is bring in completely different samples. I know a lot of producers just like to work with the same sample and, you know, get different sounds and tones out of just one sample, but me personally, I like to mix and mash different samples and get like a Frankenstein beat type of thing. So pretty much what I did for that is I went on Splice and I took a look here on my original sample and I see that it's an F minor. The thing is though that we pitched it up 400 cents, so I figured out that the key that we're in now, 400 cents on top of F minor, would be A minor. So I searched up on Splice A minor samples and I was looking for something that would catch your ear, so I searched up a violin, and as you can see here, this violin is originally an 80 BPM and we're working on 156. So this kind of brings us back to making sure your sample is in the correct time. So this is what the sample looked like originally. See, it wasn't exactly lining up, and if we play it with the metronome, it also won't line up. What I did was I put it on stretch. We're just gonna stretch it out until it snaps at the end, and just zoom in to verify, and yeah. So I'll let you guys listen to the sample. I'm gonna take off the effects just so you guys see what it's like completely raw, and I'll put the metronome so you guys can see also that it's all in time. Okay, so yeah, it was a pretty cool violin sample. And one thing that I do want to let you guys know, since we did stretch the sample, there's going to be a little bit of audio distortion when stretching. Thankfully with this sample, we don't have to stretch much. But for example, if it was all the way over here, it would sound pretty distorted and pretty bad. And I'm going to show you guys some workarounds with that. So normally what I like to do is just add a lot of reverb to it, or add sidechain to just, you know, make the listener not hear that distortion when the whole sample is playing. So for the effects that I put with this, I made sure I put this Valhalla Vintage Verb. You guys don't have to use this plugin, but in my opinion, this is one of my favorite reverb plugins and one of the best ones that I use and a lot of other producers use. But Fruity Reverb 2 works just as good, and you guys should try that as well. But yeah, I put the mix all the way up. I always make sure to put a low cut because I don't want any low frequencies of the reverb. And this is what it sounds like with the reverb. So already we hear that the sample doesn't have as much distortion when it comes to stretching out the sound. And after that, again, I just put a little bit of sidechain, and here's what that sounds like. Again, you don't have to put sidechain on every single sound that you guys do. That's just my process. I like making my beats really bouncy and really nice. So that's kind of just what I do. But if you want to try to get that bounce, use sidechain. It's pretty good. So yeah, guys, when it comes to sampling, that's pretty much my process. It's pretty simple. And here's what the whole sample sounds like together. So yeah guys, it was a pretty good mix of samples. And another thing that you guys want to do when structuring your beats is just make sure you add samples and take away samples. So for example, in the intro here, I just have the piano playing. If I just had straight up pianos the whole time, or even something like this, the whole beat can get pretty repetitive pretty fast. So you guys do want to make sure that you switch that up every once in a while. So here's pretty much what I did for the whole rest of the beat. So I have the original piano playing in the intro, and then the violin comes in along with an 808 and this sample, and then we get just the original and the background texture, and then the original background texture and violin again for the second part of the chorus. Then it goes into verse, just playing alone with the regular sample, and then the violin coming in without the background texture. Also, just like my last tutorial, make sure you guys add accents, make sure you guys add a lot of transitions, a lot of clashes. It just makes the beat sound way more interesting. And something I actually used to do, I would just make beats and just stop making them and lose faith in them. And something that you guys should add along with your instruments and everything is add those transitions, because that can really spice up the beat and it can make you keep wanting to make the beat. So yeah, I added these accents right here, and then I reversed it right here. So guys, when it comes to sampling as well, you want to make sure that you always have your 808s in tune. So if you guys don't know how to figure out your scale, there's various ways you can do that. I'm not gonna really get into it now, but if you guys want me to make a video on that, on just how to get your 808s in tune every single time, some tips and tricks for their 808s, like and comment, and I'll get right to it. So this is my 808 pattern right here. Since we know we're in A minor, something that I really like to do is I go down to this drop down menu, I go to view, and I go to scale highlighting, make sure I'm in minor. It can also be Aeolian. Aeolian means minor. Make sure you're not in major though. And then from there we go A minor, and it'll start us off at A minor, and all these white highlighted in the background are going to be in our scale. So one thing that I like to do with the 808s is I like to pitch them up. So yeah, that's pretty much my 808. I know in some different samples that you're trying to do, it might be a little bit more complicated, but something I also really like to do is I just like to go to the sample, and you guys remember how we cut off the low end. So something that I do when I can't find an 808 sample is I bring in all the low end and I put a low pass on the high, and I just listen to that piano. So that can really help you listen to the tones that the bass notes of the piano are in, and just kind of match those up with the 808s. And after you got your 808 done, just get a nice hi-hat bounce, a clap, some percussive elements, an open hat if you like, and just like that, the beat's done. So let's listen to the first half. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it for today's video and today's tutorial. If you guys do want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe guys. What you waiting for? I'm going to be posting some new tutorials soon, so I promise you guys I'm not going to leave you guys hanging, but give me some suggestions. I want to see what you guys come up with. And yes, I know it was a pretty simple beat for today, but I'm just hoping that with these little tips and tricks that I showed you guys, yeah guys, I hope you guys have a great day or a great night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.